Well, so here I'm in the front seats of the S-Cross, and I have to say that one thing which truly stands out on this car are the seats. The seats really are brilliant in terms of comfort. The support for your lower back is excellent, support for your under thighs is very good, and the cushioning also for your lower back is very good. Also, what you like is the fact that the side bolsters over here will keep you really held inside the seats if you push it on the hills. So that's something nice, and the quality also is very good inside the car. And usually if you use a Maruti car, then you will of course see that there are some hidden plastics or some quality which is patchy, but on this car everything is very consistent. The top of the dashboard, the lower part of the center console, the switches for the AC vents, as well as the touchscreen, everything is from very consistent quality and really feels very posh and very premium. Now let me talk about a couple of negatives as well before you say that Maruti's paid me money to say nice things only. The first big negative is the fact that it's all black, and Maruti could have been a little more liberal with some silver tones inside the cabin. So that is a big negative. And the other negative is the fact that the USB port isn't here. It's hidden away over here inside this box. So that's something which can become very irritating for people who are using this car for the first time. But overall, in terms of quality, in terms of the ambience, in terms of the seat comfort, an excellent place to be in. Well, so here I'm in the back seat of the S-Cross, and just like the front, the seats are very comfortable, very cushiony, and the good point is that it's a wide car, so you can generally have 3 occupants over here. There's a bit of hump in the floorboard, but the footwells are nice and large, so you can easily accommodate the feet of whoever's sitting over here. You also get an armrest with a couple of beverage holders, so if you want to travel with only 2 people, it's a good car for that as well. Now what you really like about this car at the back is the fact that the windows are really nice and large, and there's also a quarter glass here and one at the back, so the cabin feels really nice, bright and airy. Headroom also is more than sufficient. The only downside is that unlike a few rivals, you don't get AC vents at the back, so that's a bit of a negative, especially if you are someone who always takes 2 brochures and compares each spec with the other one. But overall, a nice and comfortable place to be, especially considering that this car isn't very big. It is quite roomy on the inside. Now let's see how big the boot of the S-Cross really is. Well, so the boot of the S-Cross is just as impressive as the seats, and it's a nice and square boot. As you can see, there's also small indents over in the corners where you can keep some odds and ends. You also get a lamp over here which you can turn on and off. You also get a 12-volt charging point at the back, and that should be quite handy in case your rear tires are out of pressure and you're carrying a charger or something which fills up tire pressure into your tires. Now in terms of the boot design, it's quite good. It's also impressive is the fact that there's no loading seat at all, which means that if you have to pick up your mother-in-law from the airport and even those big and heavy boxes, they'll slide in and out without any fuss, so you will not be too tense when your mother-in-law comes in with those big boxes at all. Overall, a very impressive boot. I'll give it a score of 9 out of 10. Well, so the first thing that you'll truly appreciate about the S-Cross is the fact that the suspension has been really tuned very nicely. Now, Maruti Suzuki engineers are very good with the tuning up of their suspensions, and it's no different on the S-Cross. This car has a very cushiony ride, it's a very absorbent ride, and no matter what speed you're doing, you might be doing slow city speeds and you might be going over those rumble strips or those crevices on those expansion joints on those flyovers, but this car will soak in all those bumps without any fuss whatsoever. Even at faster highway speeds, this car feels very planted, very reassuring, and definitely will give you a sense of confidence when you're pushing it to triple-digit speeds on the highway. So that is a big positive on the S-Cross. What's also nice is that after the engine warms up a little bit, this is the diesel engine of course, the turbocharged diesel, which makes about 90 bhp. Once the engine is warmed enough, this engine doesn't become very loud or noisy. It remains very quiet, and occupants in the back seat that is, will not have any issues with the noise levels. Even in the front, it remains quite quiet, especially when you are on the highway and doing speeds in excess of 80 or 90 kph. What's also nice about this car is the fact that you get a nice and light clutch, as well as a crisp and very accurate gearbox. It's a very sporty gearbox because the throws are short and they're very accurate as well. So when you have to change gears, you will not feel tired. Even if you are stuck behind slow-moving traffic inside the city, you won't say that I've become very tired just shifting gears all day long. So in that sense also, it's a nice and decent car. What's also good about it is the fact that you get a very engaging steering wheel. It's a very good steering wheel in terms of communication, much better than a lot of newer cars, a lot of fresher SUVs out there in the market. So it really feels very good, very dynamic, and definitely will put a smile on your face when you take this car up the hills, because it's got the right amount of feedback. It's not too heavy, it's neither too light, and it's got the right amount of weight, the right amount of feedback. And it'll also remind you of the Swift, because just like the Swift, this one also feels very communicative and feels very dynamic to drive. Now in terms of visibility also, it's a good car. You get this big window over here, and you also get a small quarter glass as well as good rear view mirrors in terms of size and shape. The mirror here also is big, and the view from the back is also good. So in terms of visibility, it's a good car, especially also considering that the seats are pretty high set, so they give you a good view of at least 3-4 cars ahead of you. Now in terms of performance, the diesel engine on this car does suffer from a little bit of turbo lag. It does feel a little lethargic in terms of throttle responses below 1700-1800 RPM, but of course once you cross that figure, there's bucket loads of performance available, especially in the mid-range as well as the top end of the rev band. So you will never feel wanting for power. In terms of overall power, it is more than sufficient and more than adequate. And remember, this is the SHVS version of the car, which means that there's an additional battery pack in the back which helps you save energy, and that also helps in terms of the fuel efficiency. What it also helps is that when you stand at a red light and when you just put it in neutral, the car knows that you're at standstill, still shut off the engine automatically, and all you do to switch it on is to depress the clutch again, and the car will get going in terms of the engine. So that's a very smart tech as well, which helps you save fuel. Overall, it's a nice and enjoyable car to drive, and one which you can drive on a daily basis without feeling fatigued or tired. And dynamically, the S-Cross will remind you of the Swift as well, because it goes around corners really well. It has good grip from the tires, and it just feels like a very nice car for people who consider skilled drivers. Now, a lot of other cars in the segment, a lot of newer cars, have a lot of other gadgets and gizmos, but if you consider yourself a keen driver, someone who drives for the thrill of driving, then you should definitely shortlist the S-Cross in your bucket list. And if you liked watching this video, give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more content on cars, and of course, as always, do share this video as well, and do leave behind a comment or two, because those are things which truly do motivate us. Well, because some new arrivals have now arrived in the market, a lot of people ignore this car, or it just flies under their radar. But to be honest, if you really want to buy a car purely on its talents and abilities, then the S-Cross really is a very solid all-rounder. It's smooth in terms of the engine refinement, it's fuel efficient, it offers you a very good ride, it offers you a very spacious cabin, and one of the best seats in the business, both in the front and the back. And the boot is also large, which means that it really does tick all the boxes. And it also sells from Maruti's posh and upmarket Nexa range of dealerships, which means that, and it also sells from Maruti's posh and upmarket Nexa dealerships, which means that this car's resale values should also be very strong when you go to resell it after 5 or 6 years. So overall, out of a score of 100, I'll give this one a very strong 90, and it definitely deserves your attention. If you're in the market for a SUV, a compact SUV, a mid-size SUV, or for a crossover car, then you should definitely check this car out before making a buying decision. This is bye for now, and thanks for watching.